Okay, it's going.
All right, Jason, here we go. So, previously, now, knowing what we know since you've been in the golf course. You aim a little right, a great backswing. Club certainly isn't too open at the top. So what you did was, you found a way to kind of skew the path left of where you were aiming. And how did you do that? Well, you really just didn't have very much run up with the lower body, and then your upper body sort of changed forward. So before, we would see not a whole lot of hip slide right here. It's sort of like backing up hips and then the body running down the fairway, and that was sort of what we did. And then now we know why. I mean, partially because of the aim. But what we need to do going forward is we need to get the aim correct, just right on the line, and then making a move. Here, I'm just grabbing this club on my arms like this. I'm not saying that you have to make the steeper shoulder charge back. Whatever your backswing plane of your shoulders is great, as long as we retrace it. And we're trying to get this knee, hip, and shoulder to move away from the ball and then back underneath that spot. All of their spots, especially the left shoulder, and it's going back under that original center of the shoulder and then back around as you get enough hip slide, enough opening, and enough back extension. Now, from a practical standpoint, on the golf course and on the range, if you hit that shot that's the wraparound hook, you pretty much know that you backed your hips up and you didn't back extend. That's the only way the club face is going to be that close to whatever path you're on. So then the answer from there is just more of this. If the ball starts too far right and you have either big push or too much hook, but not left of the target hook, just too round looking, then you know that you probably, in the process of doing the hip slide, pop the shoulder up a little bit. So this is what's going to keep the club on coming back in front of you right here, keeping that shoulder down and doing the back extend. With the driver, we moved the ball a little further forward because it had stuck back. With these little pitch shots, you were aiming pretty much straight, and you just sort of overextended your arms, and the target was over here, so then you just kind of extended them that way. So what we started doing was folding the right arm and the right wrist, and especially on the little short shots, not necessarily 40, 50 yarders, but on the little short shots, getting the toe up a little bit more so that the club was open enough that you had a chance when you had just a little bit of hip slide. But mostly what helped more than anything else was when I got behind you and I made sure your right shoulder was what we call bouncing the ball down the line. So we never did this with you, but the idea is that if you were on this board right here and this board was going to the orange pin, so the board has to be slightly left of that, the ball you'd be bouncing, pitch shot, you wouldn't bounce very hard. Bouncing ball straight. That's what I was doing from behind. I was holding you, just making your shoulder make this, instead of this move you were kind of making where you go like this and you hit a lot of fat shots. We saw even at the 1,000 frames, trying to cut across it, that you still had a little tendency to kind of sink below it.
Yep.
On bunker shots, what we're saying on bunker shots, what I would do to practice my bunker shots, I would get in the sand and I'd get as far left as I was going to be. I'd draw a line right 9 degrees to where my stance was, and I wouldn't even worry about hitting the line. I would just have the line there for a reference point and let me swing until I felt like it was left enough, just like it probably needs to be a little further left than it was, just like every other damn thing you were doing, except for your putting stroke. And then you look and see where that is, where that entry point is, and then put the ball correspondingly further forward on that. The other thing that I don't think would hurt is to hit some drivers, kind of low T drivers, working on the left shoulder down and back extending even later, and feel like, if anything, you're cheating your path a little left with hip slide and trying to maybe cut it out of there a little bit, just because you need a little bit of feeling that you can swing lefter and not lose it left.
Yeah.
Because if you do your back extension right and you do the hip slide right, you can swing left of where you've been swinging to your feet and not lose it left. So, I mean, and the putts will give you another different shot during the course. And of course,